Scrappy friends. This layout is one of those layouts that is just not so much fun some days. I love this layout that I'm showing you right now. It's a layout by Beth Maloney. It was on the Scrapbook Like a Superhero Facebook group and I wanted to lift it. However, I missed turning on my phone camera twice, and the layout that you're going to see now is actually the third layout that I quote recorded. See, and I just showed you there that it is the third layout. At the end of this layout, I am going to show you still shots of the other two layouts I did in the order that I did them, which will be kind of fun because you're going to see three layouts from the exact same lift, but they do look different. They're going to all have some things in common, but they are different. So what I am doing there is I just pulled that photo of, or that piece of Chamel paper, and it's from the True Stories paper pad. All of the papers that I'm actually going to use in this layout come from the Chamel's True Stories paper pad. I just got her latest collection, so I thought I should actually try to use some papers from this particular collection. So anyway, so I pulled that photo there of some wine bottles from a girls' weekend that I went on. I promise we did not drink all of this, but it's sort of a tradition of ours. And what I did there is I ran away from you for a second because I was going to get the die cuts from the True Stories collection. I had forgotten to pull those out because I knew I wanted some of those. I was about an expert at making this layout by the time I was done, so I knew I would want some of those. So anyway, so back to the actual layout again. So I have my green paper, and because it is a Chamel layout, or it's not a Chamel layout, it's using Chamel papers, and I really think that her papers a lot of times really look good inked. She certainly inks the edges on papers, and I think she's just used to it, so she almost designs that way. It really helps if you ink those edges. It helps whatever you're doing, whatever papers it is, pop off other papers. And because that polka dot is pretty busy, I thought that it would really help that green photo mat there pop off that polka dot paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the cut that strip of paper there. It's 12 inches wide. It's about 12 inches wide and about 4.5 inches high there. What I did is I didn't actually measure the height. I measured just the space that I wanted around the photo block there, and the photo mat, I should really say. So what I decided here is, I believe that on the original layout there it was a strip of paper, but I decided on this one that I was going to use washi tape, and I did use washi tape on another one of the layout. So I'm just going through here. I keep my washi tape in 2 cigar boxes, and that's what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of looking to see what kinds of things I have in my cigar box, trying to decide. I thought I wanted an aqua, but I just wasn't finding the right aqua. I liked the color of the striped tape, but because my photo block there is striped, or my photo mat is striped, I didn't think the striped washi tape was going to be good with that. And that's another thing. I looked at the chevron and I didn't like that. I looked at using this pink, but it's too narrow for what I want. I wanted a wider washi for sure on this. And see, I'm trying that chevron there. But again, the issue for me there is that it's the stripe. I don't like the stripe and the stripe together. And I stuck it to the photo. Oh my gosh. That was a little scary because they don't always work very well, or they don't always come off. And I am actually going to be able to get this off. One of the things that I find helps is if you have undo, which is what I have there, and I'm going to use that undo adhesive remover to take the washi tape off, and it doesn't damage your photo. So you can use undo also to wipe off fingerprints off of photos. I find that to be really helpful if people have been handling your photos, or if you've been handling your photos. That really makes a difference. So we've got that done there, and just getting that finished up. and putting that away. So now I'm going to be a little bit more cautious this time and not stick the tape to the photo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the tape down, and then I'll wrap it around the back side, and then I'll glue everything down. Now I could have positioned the rectangular piece to the 12 by 12 and then stuck it down and wrapped it around, but in this particular case I want to leave the rectangular piece, or I think I want to leave the rectangular piece off of the background for a while, because I'm not quite sure what embellishments I'm going to be using around it, so I don't know for sure how much space I'm going to want at the top of the rectangular piece would be the best way to describe why I'm doing this. There's going to be a lot of, quote, white space, although in this case it's blue polka dot space on this particular layout. So where that block sits, where that rectangular block sits, is a big deal. And I glue it down anyway. But that's why I did it that way. And I think because this had lines in it, it really helped my eye figure out where I wanted it to go. I didn't tell you, by the way, but that, or I don't think I did, that washi tape is from Bella Boulevard. I don't have them labeled anymore, so I don't have a color name or anything. And I actually think this one came in a multi-photo or a multi-tape pack with other things. So this tape is probably 3 years old, I'm guessing. So I'm looking there at, again, the die cut pack from True Stories, and I found that die cut that says, I have every intention of making this day great, which I thought it was appropriate considering we have a counter full of wine bottles there. And I love how this die cut flower lays on that, the die cut saying there. It just kind of brings everything together. And I did use that original sort of label up there. The reason I did that is because this counter full of wine is something that we do every time we're up there, so it's sort of our original idea. I don't know, whatever. That was my thought process there. And then I liked that Delight sticker there, but I decided that I wanted something else in the corner there, and I've used not so many of these. I've used the die cut pieces from these tags, from this tag set here. It's called Tags with Vellum, but I've not used very many of the vellum sayings there. So since I wanted a horizontal element there to echo the horizontal element up on top, I decided that that would be a good way to do this. And I like how that tag there brings in all the colors from the polka dot paper and from the flowers there. And obviously that Delight die cut's going to make sense because it was pretty delightful that we had this amount of wine for the weekend. So I am liking the way that looks, and I'll pop that Delight up on some foam adhesive in just a little bit to lay it up on that tag, and that'll give the bottom cluster some dimension there, just because there's so much going on up in the top. And I don't have the other two layouts in front of me at the moment, but if I remember correctly, one of the other two layouts has that bottom cluster on it as well, in basically the same position. So one of the good things, by the way, I don't scrapbook chronologically at all. These photos are actually not too old. They're from February of this year, but the other two layouts, one of them I think is from maybe January of the year before. One of them is quite a bit older. It's from last year already. So all of these are not going to end up in the same book, and even the two layouts that are closer together won't be in the same book. That's kind of one nice thing about when I do fall in love with a sketch or a layout, is that if I'm careful about what photos I'm using, I can reuse that over, and you don't really see that. Actually, there's a sketch that Shamel did a few years ago that's kind of similar to the way this layout lays out, this way the layout is designed. And I've used that sketch over and over and over again. and you can't tell because it's different every time because of what I'm using or how I'm positioning things, that kind of a thing. I just pulled another element from that die cut pack there, and that little die cut says, "When in doubt, smile," which of course wine makes me smile. Here's a little nod to Victoria Marie. I'm pretty sure that it makes her smile too. And now I'm going back and I'm looking through the sticker book to see if there's anything else I want to use. I definitely want to put something up by the original. It needs more, something more in that cluster, and I kind of liked that flower that I just pointed to in the book, but I'm also thinking about maybe some sort of banner or label thing, and I go to this one first. I can't quite read that because my screen is pretty small, but it doesn't stay on there. I'm going to take that off. The original is going to stay there. And the reason I decided against that one is I wanted a different shape in that top cluster. I liked the heart, but it was too bright for me. It was so red compared to everything else on it, such a solid color, that it took way too much attention away from the photo itself and the design of the layout. So when I don't know what to do next, I do things that I know. And one of the things I knew is that I definitely wanted to use this When in Doubt Smile die cut there. And I'm inking all those edges as well. So sometimes that'll help your process if you just kind of do what you know first. And I'm being very careful as you see lining these up. I don't want those edges to sit even with the washi tape there. I want some separation. So I put the When in Doubt Smile a little bit above the washi tape, and then the Make This Day Great one below. And I'm going to then add some foam tape to the die cut floral piece there, and that will give that dimension, give that cluster some dimension, because remember I put that delight on the bottom right on some foam tape, so that cluster needs some dimension as well. And I'm thinking as I'm doing this, okay, I've got dimension in 2 clusters, now I need dimension in the third. What am I going to do here, because I don't have any dimension up there, and if I use that sticker, I'm not sure that that's going to be the right way that I want to add dimension to it. And I'm being a little fussy here about how I'm positioning this flower because I couldn't remember. Isn't that fun? We always do that. We take the pieces off what was, quote, perfect positioning, although there is no such thing, but take them off the perfect positioning, and then we can't remember what we did, I should say. So I got that down, and again, I'm still thinking, what am I going to do for dimension here? What am I going to do for dimension here? But in the meantime, I'm going to stick that original down. And I tried the heart one more time because I figured I could stick that up on some foam tape. And when I did, after I got that done, I looked right ahead of me, and the flare badges from Chamel's Starshine collection were there. And there was this cute little floral that matched perfectly well because the colors are the red, and that is the red in the other polka dot. And it's perfect because I like the red from the heart, but it was just a little bit too much red. So I'm again kind of looking here to see what else I can add to the layout, but also thinking about my title now and trying to decide what I want to do. These are the Fitzgerald stickers from the Starshine collection, and I just thought, I thought they were going to blend in too much. And I was right. I put one on there just to sort of test it, and it blended into the background too much. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to grab my other letter stickers, and I now have it in my head that I want to bring in some yellow. And so what I do here is I grab my American Crafts Boardwalk thickers in Honeycomb, which is one of my favorite fonts, the Boardwalk font. I have a couple of different colors or styles. I guess the style is the Boardwalk, but a couple of different colors. Or I have a chipboard one in wood that's the Boardwalk font that I like so much. So I need a short title here. I'm going to call this Stash, and frivolously use up 2 S's in one one fell swoop here. But you know what? They're gathering dust if they're sitting in my stash, so use away. And I have a lot of thickers. Someday I really do intend to do a scrapbook tour for you and a scrapbook room tour for you. I know I keep saying that. I've just been busy with other things. So, and you're getting to see my lovely hair there just because it's really hard to position those thickers without being over the top of them, because I want them lining up on the same line there for sure, because you'll notice it if I don't have them on the same line. So I'm thinking now I'm going to add some enamel dots, although really honestly I keep thinking, oh, I'm not loving that upper cluster yet. It just feels unfinished to me. So I did pull the enamel dots from the True Stories collection there, and that's when I remembered, oh yeah, that's right, I saw that flower up there, and that flower is the perfect addition of yellow now that I have the title in yellow. So there's a really nice sort of it's actually, it's not just a trio of yellow there. It's actually 4 spots of yellow, because it's the flower that I'm working with now, the floral cluster, the title, and the banner has a really nice chunk of yellow on it. Although really my eyes kind of seeing that floral cluster and the title as one thing, because it's all one embellishment cluster. So what I'm doing here is to bump up the yellow a little bit. I'm grabbing some yellow stars from those True Stories enamel dots, and I'm going to grab an enamel dot as well too. So I put the stars in the bottom 2 clusters, and then I used up all the stars, but I didn't use up all the stars, sorry. Decided when I tried to use the other star there, I didn't like the yellow on the other side of the original because there's so much yellow on the left side of that cluster, so I decided I want to use that kind of aqua colored enamel dot there, and that just balances a little bit better. So there goes the aqua dot. I played around a little bit there. These are, oh, I love this particular set of enamel dots. I like the hearts and the stars and the dots. So all right, I am just about done here, and I'm giving you the thumbs up because I finally got the 3rd layout there. So there's the first layout I did, the playtime layout. You can see a lot of similarities there. And there's the second one I did, very similar to the one I just finished, but I flipped it. And coming up here is the still of the layout I just finished and a couple of detail shots. Hope you are all well.